Well, Coach, what a great half of football. Two great teams on a big platform. Anxious to see what happens in the second half.
Yeah, looking forward to the second half, you bet. And said the same thing last year, so.
That's right.
Go Chiefs.
That's right.
What we got going on, Austin?
We've got this video that we want to share. Like we said in our promo, it's not the two of us sharing. It's going to be from some actual NFL players. Not necessarily in this big game, but some guys like Carson Wentz and Brandon Cooks are going to share about their faith stories. And this is all kind of led by Coach Tony Dungy, who's so well respected, both in the NFL world, also in the church world.
Yes, exactly. You mentioned social media earlier, and I know we all kind of follow different people on tweets. Well, Coach Dungy has his own tweets that he puts out, and we enjoy watching them on NBC Sunday Night Football because he does has a great platform there. But he also tweets his pastor's messages or the kind of a clip of them each Sunday. I enjoy reading those and reading a lot of things that he has to say. So, hey, without any further ado, let get us into what we have to watch and what we have to see tonight.
Yeah, y'all get settled in and watch this video that they put out by Sports Spectrum. The theme is Unshaken. We'll catch you at the end of the video.
Hey friends, we're on the ground in Tampa, and we're excited to have you with us. Joining me today is football legend, NFL Hall of Fame coach, and one of the best men you'll ever meet, Coach Tony Dungy. Coach, we've got the Buccaneers and the Chiefs. What's it going to take for each team to win?
I think mirror images, Benjamin. Both teams pressure defense. Both teams great quarterbacks, explosive offenses. Who can make the big plays? Who can stop the other team from making the big plays? And what it's going to come down to, as you know, pressure on the quarterback.
They always say you got to get these quarterbacks off the spot. You can't just let them sit there and pick you apart. Well, whoever wins, this game is going to be one for the ages. So welcome to the Super Bowl and welcome to Football Sunday. Our first story comes from NFL linebacker Sam Acho. Sam has had a successful 9-year career in the NFL and has become an influential Christian leader, not only in the locker room, but in the world as well. And all along the way, Sam continues to discover a God who is always enough.
Freshman year, University of Texas, college campus, Jester Hall, 3rd floor right outside of the elevator. Trevor Walker, that is 3rd string quarterback, just waiting, reading his Bible. And so I stopped, and then maybe he stopped me, and we just start reading a little bit, talking a little bit, but it was at that point I said, okay, something's different about this guy. He said, if you want to be real about it, let's just be real about it. Let's live out our faith on this campus, on the football team with the guys. And it wasn't just me or him. We had about 10, 15, 20 guys on our team that wanted something more. The Spirit of God just erupted inside of me, and I felt like a lion. I felt like I was just a lion in those grounds. The men there had encountered Jesus. It was the last thing I ever would have expected going to a prison. And I still keep in touch with a bunch of those guys today from that prison. I went back the year after. It doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, if you're in prison, if you're a football player, it doesn't matter who you are, God can restore and redeem. And I saw that with my own eyes. So I just signed a multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract in the NFL. And it was like, yeah, we did it, man. God is good. Oh, everything's gonna be okay. And it wasn't. Right around that time, just the seams started to fall apart in my life. My relationship with my wife, Ngazi, blessing, right? I wasn't loving her the way I was called to love her. Even with my kids, I found myself getting angry with them often or being anxious all the time. My parents just seemed like it was just a falling out with a lot of people, everyone and everything around me. And I was sitting down at a restaurant in Chicago with one of my buddies, and I finally just got a chance to tell him, I was like, dude, I'm struggling. I am not doing well at all. And as I'm sharing with him everything that was going on, I'm sharing, and I started to cry. And he looks at me and he says, it's really nice to see you, Sam. He said, as long as I've known you, I've never seen this side of you. I've always seen the smile and the jerseys, and I've never seen this side of you, but it's good to know that you're human. I don't know what I looked like, but I just was exhausted. I felt like I was carrying a lot of weight. And my teammate had walked in, and he saw me. He says, hey, Acho, are you good? I looked at him and said, you know what? I'm not. He said, I don't know what's going on right now, Sam, but whatever it is, you need to let it out. I look at him and all of a sudden now I'm in the locker room now and the tears start to come. He looks at me, he says, hey, Ach, it's nice to see you. So many of us, we get trapped and caught, and God's like, no, I see you. Let me move this weight off you. The weight I've been trying to carry was this weight of perfection. Right? I have it all together. I have all the answers. I'm the star. I'm the guy. I'm great. And God's like, I didn't have you to carry that. I want you to get to know me and to spend time with me. That's all I want. I am enough, not you. I am enough. It is so easy to pretend, to act like we have it all together and put on our, these figurative masks that we wear and be like, yeah, I'm fine, or I'm good. It's so easy. But God is not a God of pretending. God is a God of freedom. The Bible talks about taking up your cross daily and following me. Am I going to take up my cross and be real, be authentic? Or am I going to pretend and act like I got it all together and act like I have all the answers? It's a daily decision.
When you hear a story like that, it's hard not to see the sovereign hand of God.
And we've all been there, and it's tough, even though you have faith, to say, I understand, God, even when it doesn't make sense.
And God is in control, even when it doesn't make sense, but it's still painful. And it's important that we realize that. We're all still living through a pandemic. Your finances, your health, your small business, your personal losses, a death in the family, all these things are happening during this time.
And our families are living through these things too. Our families are so important. And they've been impacted by COVID during the past year, not just us.
It can all feel very uncertain and at times even overwhelming.
But I know this from years of personal experience. Whether it feels like it or not, God is sovereign in these things because God is sovereign in all things, even the uncertain things, even a pandemic.
And maybe you just needed to hear Coach say that one time. God is sovereign in the pandemic. With the strength of God empowering us, we really can be unshaken by focusing and continually focusing our eyes on a God who is sovereign over all of it. Coach, you and I both played in Super Bowls during our playing careers, and you actually coached in one too. So we thought it would be fun to ask some guys who love God and who played in the Super Bowl about their experiences. Here's what they said.
Super Bowl is a little bit different because you play so much later in the afternoon. And so I actually did get up and have a pretty good breakfast. Basically all the fixings, eggs and toast.
I've probably been eating the same thing before games now for the entirety of my career, and that's oatmeal and eggs.
Omelet with some eggs and cheese and then some bacon, and pretty simple.
I would usually hit the omelet bar, hit the pancake bar, definitely get some fruit.
running out, having my name announced, the flashbulbs going off, where it really sunk in that this is real, that we're here in this moment that I dreamed of so many times, a moment that I played out in my front yard so many times.
My favorite part by far was the parade, probably 4 or 5 days after the Super Bowl. Philly was just out of control, and for as far as you can see, it's just people everywhere.
Before the game, and Jim Zorn, my quarterback coach, he said, he got this like smirk on his face, and he says to the quarterbacks, he's like, how cool is this? Like, how great is this? Like, what a blessing is this? And I was like, yeah, heck yeah, we're about to win the Super Bowl. And he was like, God is on the throne whether we win or lose. And even if we win, like, we're not really on the throne. He's on the throne.
Our final story is from NFL quarterback Carson Wentz. During his 5-year NFL career, Carson has experienced the ups and downs of the game. But if you listen to his story, it's clear that his foundation lies somewhere else, in something else. This is Carson's story.
Grew up in Bismarck, North Dakota, was extremely active in sports. That was pretty much my life. Parents got divorced when I was 7. I was a good kid. I stayed out of trouble. We went to church. It was kind of just something we did. It's kind of something we checked the boxes, so to speak. And I thought I was right with God because I was a good kid. I listened to what my dad said. I didn't want to get in trouble, didn't want to miss sports, kind of all those things, all those factors in my mind made me think I'm good. And then I go to college, and at that point it's, okay, you're no longer in your parents' house. It's time to grow up, make your own decisions. I remember one of our first practices, it was a senior quarterback at the time named Dante Perez. He ends up asking me, hey man, you ever read the Bible? It was our first practice. I just got done learning about two-jet protection and what the X has on the certain plays and all of these things. My head's spinning, and he wants to talk about the Bible, and I'm kind of taken aback. At the same time though, I was like, here it is, because I knew God was kind of moving. And from that moment on, him and I started talking. He was a mentor to me. We read the entire New Testament and met up, at least once a week and talked through the Word. And it just came to life to me. It was really eye-opening to me. I always said I was a believer in Jesus, but I didn't really know what he did for me. I thought it was all about what I could do for him. And when that kind of mindset was flipped on its head, and that it was already done for me, and that it was a thing called grace, and I could live for him freely and not out of rules and obligation, it just changed my life. We met actually in the country of Haiti, and she was there serving with the organization called Mission of Hope. And this was after my rookie year. Went down on a mission trip with the church that we go to out here in New Jersey. We ended up talking, and I just to see another woman that was truly after God's heart in that moment, and trying to serve him the way that I was trying to live as well. About a year and a couple months later, we were married. And now we have a daughter who's 7 months old now, and she is an absolute joy. It's been quite the journey together so far. We were all on this high as a team. I was in the MVP conversation, and our team was, we just clinched the NFC East and all sorts of good things going, and my season was done. And for me, I've had a fair share of injuries, but never something like that. Never something where I literally had zero control of my life. I couldn't walk. I couldn't get off the couch to go to the bathroom by myself. I couldn't. Just complete control had to be surrendered. Believe me, I wasn't the best patient. I was frustrated, I was crabby. It was a trying time. But to look back at it and to see, we go on to win the Super Bowl. Everyone knows that story, and I was not out there. And to walk through that, obviously it was tough at the time, and I still look back and think it was a tough time, but I know God was moving in my life, and he wanted me to know that he loves me so much that my relationship with him is far more important than winning a Super Bowl, than being on that stage in my uniform, than playing in that game, but ultimately playing for his glory and saying, God, your will be done. And just how God has had his hand from that moment on in my life, and I thank him for it. For me, I've always been a guy that wants to have control, and my selfishness and my desire for control has to decrease every moment, and it has to just allow God to increase in my life, to try my best to be Spirit-led and not Carson-led. Sometimes I just look at my daughter and I kind of laugh because I'm like, she's mine. And the way I love her that I can't even explain or understand, I know doesn't even compare to how much God loves us. Almost makes me emotional sometimes because I'm just like, this is my daughter, and God, you gave your son to die for me. And I'm like, I would never let anything happen to this little girl because she is mine. Like, because of how much he loves me, he was willing to allow his son to go through the agony of dying on that cross. And I think that is when the peace just rushes over me. And I think, all right, God, there's so much more at play than the X's and O's of football, than the highs and lows of wins and losses. And that gives me peace.
If you're a football fan, you already know that Carson's season didn't turn out like he wanted it to.
No, it didn't, but it was his faith that's given him a perspective that's so much bigger than, just the X's and O's of football. And it's really interesting to me, Benjamin, it was really the birth of his daughter that I think showed Carson that love that God has for us, that God is with us even through all the turmoil, even through all the problems.
There's nothing better than coming back to the truth that we are unconditionally loved by the God who created us. And because of that great love, he gave his only son, Jesus, to live with us and to die for us, unshaken. When the ground beneath us is rumbling, this one thing is always true. We serve a God who cannot and will not ever be moved. And I hope you're hearing that message today. Maybe it's through Sam's story, that God is more than enough. Or maybe through Carson's story, he's reminding you that you are loved and that a relationship with you is worth the price of the cross. Whatever the case, we're so grateful you joined us today.
As we wrap up our time together, may we become people who write these words on our hearts.
I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. Let's get ready for some football. Enjoy the Bucs and the Chiefs. Have a great day.
Hey, that was a great video, Austin. Enjoyed hearing all the different stories from all the different people that took the time and to be a part of that and to share the word and to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that is what's the most important thing that we have going on in our world today, and we need more of this type of sharing and message.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, guys, we hope that you have enjoyed the Super Bowl so far and that you've enjoyed the fun and the food and even the commercials if you're not a football person. But our hope is that this video has been something that won't just turn out to be part of a fun evening, but will be something that has really transformed lives, because it's transformed my life, and I know the gospel's transformed your life as well, Coach. And so if you've got questions about that, or if you felt like God was really speaking to you and you want to meet with somebody here at First Baptist Church, we'd like you to just text Unshaken to our church phone number. It's 417-256-3128. And we'd love to get in touch with you and just work through where you're at in life and what this relationship with Jesus might look like for you, because we would sure love to see that transformation happen for you.
Well, thanks again for letting us be a part of this year's Super Bowl halftime with you all. I know I've enjoyed, I always like listening and hanging around younger guys. Thank you for letting us be here.
All right, let's get to the second half and
go Chiefs.
There it is.